Hello and welcome to my Pokemon Journeys episode 89, Dialga and Palkia, the Space-Time Cataclysm review. So right into the action, Dialga and Palkia are back at each other's throats, as they tend to be, with a great climactic soundtrack by series composer Yuki Hayashi. As they fight, portals open up and the unmistakable silhouettes of Team Rocket watch on with a red chain and some Arceus-shaped restraints hover behind them. We cut to Dawn, who's got her whole team out ready to practice for some contests, but Piplup's asleep and not focusing on anything. Dawn hammers in that Piplup's team's role model, and it shouldn't be slacking off. So Piplup runs off, and into someone who looks an awful lot like Dawn. And when Dawn arrives, the alternate person walks through a portal which closes on Dawn, while she has Piplup. And the person is another version of Dawn. Alright, just to take a moment, this is such a great setup. We get some mysterious setup. What's Team Rocket doing with a legendary Pokemon? We don't need to be reintroduced to Dawn, so we can get a ball rolling with her story immediately and what's going on there. It's such a great way to open the episode. So Dawn ends up contacting Ash to let him know, so Ash, Go, and Kaharu will be travelling to Sinnoh. According to Sakuragi, there's actually been a bunch of Pokemon disappearances in Sinnoh already. Dawn sits at a bench awaiting the group. She's absolutely devastated, even when Ash arrives with a gift to help cheer up a little. She starts to break down, but regains her composure. I love this scene so much. It really shows just how thoughtful Ash is to his friends. Upon taking a break to eat, they discuss the alternate Dawn and even have a callback to the Espeon and Umbreon episodes for the identical Kaharu, which I didn't really expect, but this really isn't the same thing. And even more shockingly, when Dawn mentions the other one came from a shining hole, Ash asks if it's an ultra wormhole, which kind of blew me away to see it brought up like this, but it's still awesome continuity to Sun and Moon, and shows that Ash is somewhat knowledgeable in alternate worlds, so it's absolutely appropriate. For simplicity's sake, we'll call these portals gates, since the show does that. So our Team Rocket attack and grab Pikachu. I'm going to be honest, this was actually really refreshing. It feels like so long since we've actually had Team Rocket attacking like this, so seeing Lucario and Inteleon team up to blast Team Rocket off felt right. But part of the reason why this is being done because an alternate Team Rocket show up from a gate and target Inteleon and Lucario. Meowth and Wobbuffet catch your boy's Pokemon and enter the gate. Only Dawn and Go are able to make it through before it shuts, which leaves Ash and Kaharu in our world. So I think this is a very cool turn. Last special, Dawn spent her time with Kaharu and now she's spending it with Go. We get to see her dynamic with each of the new characters, since we already know that Ash and Dawn get on perfectly. This alternate world has an Aurora, which kind of throws him off. Dawn decides to take him to her house and see what's different, and runs ahead. Go remarks that she's like Ash, and yeah, you know what, I've always felt like she was a girl Ash, so you know what, Go, I'll take this. Dawn's house seems the same, but the flowers around it aren't blooming. The world seems devoid of Pokemon too. On the inside of the house, they find that alternate Dawn was actually a runner-up in the Sinnoh League. So yeah, she doesn't do contests and is a different person in certain ways. They both still start with Piplup though. Now I wonder if they're going with her being second place in the Sinnoh League because our Dawn came second place in the Grand Festival. I think it's pretty cool regardless. Alternate Dawn arrives and Piplup runs into Dawn's arms. Alternate Dawn explains that they're the same person from different worlds. She apologises for taking Piplup. Luckily Dawn is too kind and understands why Alternate Dawn did it. Of course she was close to her Piplup too. Go asks the question, why does no one have Pokemon? So they go to Sandgem Town, where it's revealed that alternate Piplup and every Pokemon in the centre has been reverted to an egg. Pokemon started to forget moves, which hilariously seems to be the reason why Alternate Dawn lost the league. Then they started to revert in their evolution stages, as displayed by Quilava and Mamoswine, and then they turned into eggs. Now I think that sounds absolutely terrifying, like reverting to a point before they were even born. It's just a terrifying concept. A gate showed Alternate Dawn a Piplup, so in a moment of weakness she took it, even though Dawn was calling out that it's hers. And even if Dawn has forgiven her, now Piplup, Grookey, and the Pokemon that are brought into this world are doomed to this fate. Go concludes this is a problem with space-time. They ponder what it could be, and Dawn comes out with Dialga and Palkia, which we cut to, and they've been trapped by the red chain and Arceus restraints, yeah, whatever. So Ash and Kaharu are thinking about how to get to your world, and Ash thinks about Palkia when Kaharu asks if there's a Pokemon to help them. It's fun to think that Ash could have mentioned Solgaleo here, but Palkia is absolutely a relevant one since they're in Sinnoh, so do head off to Canalave Library to get more info. Cynthia is in the library too, actually, and she's getting her second return as well. Ash introduces her to Kaharu and they get researching. While going amiss with them, she introduces them to Art of Dialga, Palkia, and shockingly Arceus. Which is definitely fitting, but it makes me wonder if we'll be getting an Arceus arc later on to coincide with Pokemon Legends Arceus, since Arceus is rarely mentioned in the show itself, but it feels like there's more of this letting on. So Cynthia predicts that the distortions are all from Palkia, but alternate Team Rocket show up from a gate again and attack. And Meowth manages to hold off Garchomp because he's the GOAT. Pikachu and Garchomp can't really attack, clearly impacted by the distortions. Before Pikachu and Garchomp get captured, however, Cynthia sends out a new Pokemon, Komodo, which is really interesting. She was given one in Pokemon Masters, so having it carry over makes me wonder if anything else will. Team Rocket retreat, and Ash and Go give chase as the gate shuts behind them. The main Team Rocket watch from a tree as the gate opens behind them. The two get a move on to find Dawn and Go. and that's when they encounter alternate Ash as the episode ends. And what an episode this was. They had a lot to fit in. I feel like they really effectively set up a lot of mystery. The alternate world stuff was balanced very well, and it really helps that Dawn and Cynthia had been reintroduced to us earlier on in this series. That means we can just hop into the story that they wanted to tell, rather than having to go through the motions of who are these characters. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this episode was seeing Ash and Dawn getting a chance to properly interact this time. It didn't really bother me as much with the last time Dawn returned, as she was being used for Kara's growth and it worked really well there. But here we get to see Ash being one of the first people that Dawn contacts about this. We get Ash showing off how thoughtful and caring he is by trying to cheer her up with a snack. And it works because she sees him, and even though she's very hurt and upset by losing Piplup, she tries to be her usual self in his presence. The alternate Team Rocket honestly feel like they act a lot like Best Wishes Team Rocket, which let me tell you, I don't like Best Wishes Team Rocket. I'm actually more reasonably okay with it here actually, since our Team Rocket call them creeps, and it's not like this alternate Team Rocket is a main one. I do love how ridiculously strong Meowth is, throwing off Dark Pulses and matching Cynthia's Garchomp with Slash. As I said, I think the alternate world Pokemon have such a scary problem. Knowing that time's reversing to a point where you aren't a thing and you can't do anything to stop it, no thank you. It's the sort of crazy power you'd expect from a god of time, and pairing it with Palkia randomly opening portals to different worlds so it starts to impact all these different places is a dangerous combination. That could threaten all of existence. I guess I should mention that Dialga and Palkia feel very plot devicey at the moment. They just sort of start scrapping and just seem to get caught by alternate Team Rocket. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but they don't really feel like their characters as much. I do want to know exactly what Team Rocket's plan is, really, with how they got the red chain, how did they get restraints. I'm so eager to see the next week episode and see what it has in store. It's really exciting. Just overall, it's got an excellent premise that's been executed incredibly well. Journeys isn't a stranger having multi-part episodes now. This is a strong contender of having the best start of any of them within this series. Even though this is blatantly a brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl advertisement, that's not a bad thing in the slightest. We got such a cool two-parter out of it. Can't wait for next week.